A review that you requested is the all-new Range Rover Sport. Here was Thomas and Auto Review for you in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go with the front that has this new fluent, seamless design for better wind efficiency, but also for this modern approach. The lamps here with a very slim daytime running light, very well integrated as well. This dark blue Norse color here, very beautiful today with the copper accentuations. This is a top trim autobiography. And there's news to come also in the interior. The questions are for today. Can they transport the Range Rover Sport into the modern era? Are they also challenging the German competitors like Mercedes, Audi, BMW? And also, how does it compare to the Range Rover versus Range Rover Sport? All of these questions right now. I think from the design here in the front, it is evolutionary, yes, but still more modern with this very fluent approach. I think a very impressive look in the front. What do you think? And turning indicators here look quite cool. They do not replace the lower part, but they appear here in the higher part. Very slim integration, but very well visible. 4,95 meters or 195 inches is the length of the Range Rover Sport. Now, what is the difference to the Range Rover? Wheelbase is actually the same. Astonishing, right? Has been the same also in the previous generation. To the short wheelbase Range Rover. So the big difference is in the Range Rover there's also a long wheelbase version available, which is not available here for the Range Rover Sport. And also from the roofline, from design, this one here has a sportier rear roofline, just for this little bit sportier touch indeed. And we'll see if this one has any effect on the interior later on. And the rear overhang is a little bit shorter. It's about 10 centimeters or 4 inches shorter than the short wheelbase Range Rover. So from these dimension, aspect, not too much big difference then between Range Rover Sport and Range Rover. Astonishing, isn't it? Wheels from 21 to 23 inch. These here are the biggest 23-inch wheels. We'll also test in the driving part if this will have an effect on comfort. Once again, the beautiful copper accentuations, really liked it here in the autobiography trim. And also, technology highlight, next to the air suspension, which is standard, you can also get a 7.3 degrees opposite direction steering rear axle. This is a maximum 7.3 degrees, where the rear wheels steer in the opposite direction than the front wheels are turning in. And that gives you more agility in slower driving and also better in the basement garage. Turning circle is reduced and so on. So this makes this car so much more agile and easier to steer around parking in and out. In the rear also a calm and seamless design. And I think that's a great step in this new generation. So far, Land Rover design over the last decade or so tended to be, yes, very modern, but I would say too many different elements. Here now they calmed it a little bit down. Nice slim integration also of the tail lamps right here. Soon take a look at the turning indicators. And in the lower part in the rear, is that a case for the autograph fake exhaust police? Let's take a look. You know they're also active in the UK. No, it's not. Actually, this is a very interesting piece. So this exhaust really has a transition from small to wide. Wow, this is how you do it and still keep it real indeed. Not bad. And the turning indicators in the rear, you always love to see that. Look at that here with a nice cascading effect. Interesting also these two top fins, whereas we have in the left one an additional camera. The normal rear view camera is above the number plate, and we will soon show you the difference in the view. Now to the interior. This one here is the key fob of a 100k plus Range Rover or Range Rover Sport. Really, Land Rover? You can do better, can't you? Then here the door handles, they are flush. That means when you close the vehicle here, even surface, aerodynamics and so on. And when you open them again like this, and you can grab on the inside, but listen to these electric motors. Oh, really? Okay, but let's take a look at where you can also do it like here, but pressing here. That sounds weird, right? But then again, what about door closing sound? That's quite okay. And here also like the, how it resonates from the haptic quality. That is actually quite nice. Then interior of the doors or inside of the doors. Look at that. Everything you see is animal free from materials. I applaud them for that. Really well done. There are two versions of that one. Either here with this navy blue style, and you see it matches the exterior color of the car so well also on the interior. And the other alternative would be more this gray fabric style, more of that kinda. Then you also have it on the seat, and then black on the inside. We've seen that from, for example, on the Range Rover Brother. Details at the inside of the doors here, look at that. This is a new structure here. It looks really cool and just unique, and no matter where we look, like here the grey fabric, then here this navy blue style, soft touch here, even soft here in the lower part, not like super soft at the top part, but even here, no just plain black plastic. I hardly see that anywhere in the automotive industry. So, and this material here, they call it Ultra Fabrics. This is kind of like a neoprene-like material. It's a mix of leatherette and microfiber, so it is not entirely slick, but also not super rough, something in between. But it is so great from a build quality, really awesome. The seat control, by the way, is here at the inside. So let's take a look at the seat. So here again, the Ultra Fabrics have a very nice touch. They're very soft, also perforated, and heating and cooling is available. Also perforation here in the top part. So this looks awesome and also feels really great. Really like it. Also here at the outside part, this is a little bit different from the texture here. So very interesting what I've done here. Also interesting here in the autobiography, we have these high floor mats here. So a high soft fabric. Really like to have that one also in the top luxury trim. Seating position is what they call command driving position at Land Rover or Range Rover. Good view to the front, and these seats are really not only ultra fabrics but also ultra comfortable. So very soft cushion indeed, and don't forget you can also get here these additional armrests here on the other side, and then yeah, that's the traveling feeling then indeed. Interior overview, really impressive look, luxurious atmosphere, also materials, nice haptic, and also that soft touch, both top and lower part here in this navy blue once again. Glove box is a split dual one, lower part dampened here, also nice from the build quality, and it goes back automatically a little bit like this. 13.1 inch touchscreen in the middle part, soon more details to that. Steering wheel looks also pretty modern, and clicking sound. It is this one button high gloss atmosphere, don't like it that much, but it is backlit and also gives you some feedback. And then 13.7 inch digital instruments. They are really crisp actually, so great resolution for them. So pretty cool. You can also have a small map in there, but only from the car internal GPS actually. And you can also change the whole layout. For example, then also for a full screen map, but it doesn't work with Apple CarPlay. You might remember the secondary camera in the back. That's what it's for. This is the digital rear mirror, that when you pack everything full for your holiday trip in the rear, you can still see what's going on behind you. Infotainment system, this is here the Apple CarPlay, Apple Maps integration, for example, and Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, both wireless or wired possible, and wow, what a crisp display and also large integration. That's really very well done. And we also have the Meridian 3D sound system in here. Let's listen. Really cool. So, nice 3D sound. Love that. So we can recommend that. And then what about the car map or the car internal menu? Sorry about that. So here you have this overview like this. You also forward drive information and so on. It looks very cool visually, definitely. You also have this main menu here. You get along with that. You have to learn it a little bit. Here there's also the 4x4 mode, for example, that you can see. You know, you can also activate the differential locks there. You can see the altitude and the angles and so on. It's a quite cool feature indeed. So I'm also actually happy with the responsiveness of the system. And what's also pretty cool is here, all the cameras and so on, really crisp. This is a special view here with, I can also turn on the vehicle and show you. So let me talk about that. There we go. So now I can also turn the wheels. You can see here, right wheel, left wheel. And you also see I have this log right there. And the reason for that is, I can first of all show you rear. Oh, this is like a raindrop, Sorry about that. But the resolution is really good. But the cool thing is, when I drive to the front now, and click this. This is now the see-through camera for the bonnet, and you can see I placed this small branch right there, and now I approach it, and then we can, there we go. It took a while, but then you can see here that the branch is then underneath the vehicle. Maybe it works even better when I reverse a little bit more, and then once again to the front. So here we go, see-through camera, and then underneath the vehicle is not a live image, but it's basically built up by the past image. There we go. And then I can see where is the log underneath, and then I see, for example, when there would be like a stone or something, that I don't hit it or something. So yeah, that might be a good feature when off-roading. The inductive charging bit, by the way, is here underneath the screen, so kind of hidden, but then you put it in there. Also fits for bigger phones, by the way. And then this climate dial, really cool to control while driving, straightforward. But they didn't want to have like 3 turning dials, and that's why you lift this one here, and then you can control the vent strength. Or when you press, you're back in the temperature mode, and then you press once more, and then you can go for the cooled seats or for the seat heating. So also to control while driving is a very interesting solution indeed. What do you think about this? You also have the same dial here for the passenger side. And then, oh, the sticker here for winter tires, 240 kilometers max. Come on, who's driving 240 kilometers in winter time with winter tires? Yeah, but these stickers then always when we have winter tires in Germany, but you could also remove them. Start stop is here, then there's still a manual volume jog, and this is the shifting lever, once again also with this very nice structured surface then. Just pull it down for drive mode and one more for the S mode. Oh, then the engine also goes on here. And on the right side here, then this is like auto terrain select, but you can also pull it up, and then you can select the driving modes yourself, for example like for snow, ruts, sand and so on, most of time off-road modes, or also the dynamic mode. And here this button here is for the low range, and you have to put it in neutral, and then you can also use this transfer case. Other than that, hill descent control is also activated by that then, or in the middle part this would be the button to go all EV with the plug-in hybrid. Panoramic roof, yeah, you can either have it really dark in here, or first of all open this shade. Takes a while, but it goes really all over the vehicle, and then it's a beautiful view then to the sky. And when we have finished that one, I can also open that whole thing, because it's also one that can actually be opened. Wow, that's really all over the vehicle. Here we go, either this step or then opening it all the way, and it's really wide and very long indeed. And this large metal console, good material here. Open this one, some space, and then you have this cool box here, 2 levels of cooling, then it's also illuminated. Pretty spectacular, so it's really very cool indeed then there. And then in the front part you can slide this one open, have adaptive cup holders, they're very wide indeed, but you can slide also this one completely back, and then have USB-A and USB-C charging down there with more space. And just under the middle console there is another hidden USB-C charger. Then the rear seating area also with this nice blue look here, same good material. And then we get on the inside here, shoe tab of course. Oh, look at that here at the inside of the windows. It's a manual shade in here, especially for the kids and so on. It's good. And once again, great quality also at the rear here. Really like that. Yeah, rear legroom. It works for 4 or 5 tall Ls. You see here, not plenty of legroom considering the length of the vehicle that you would only have in the long wheelbase version then of the Range Rover. Headroom wise, with 189 or 6'2", yeah, it works, but of course this has a sportier roofline, so you lose a little bit of headroom, but you see here it also works for tall adults, it's no problem. Then as for the seats here, yeah, there we are. You can also put it here, this a little bit more backward for a relaxed position, or more upright for more engaged position, so to speak. Let's take a look at the middle part here. Yeah, I mean, it's not as comfortable as on the outside parts because the back part is kind of stiff, so more focused here on the outside seats, but you can also live with that. What I also found cool, here the back part of the top of the front seat here. The top part once again also with this, like this leatherette microfiber mix once again. Very interesting from the haptical aspect. And also here the lower part, this one here, is not just plain black plastic. It also has this coating basically, and thus feels just more premium. And even here on the rear door in the lower part there is this once again. So hardly I have ever seen now recently such attention to detail, whereas in some new generation of new even luxury vehicles, they maybe go here and there for cost savings. This one here is very well executed, that they say like, hey, great materials everywhere you look. Yeah, they also have weaknesses like sounds from electric motors here and there, but also definitely their strength. And it's really the thing often about these British luxury vehicles, that you have something about, oh, awesome, and really? But never, in between. That's really interesting, isn't it? Well, I have also bought British luxury vehicles myself in the past, because they always have something, don't they? And another example for that is, here, look at that. This armrest here for the middle part. On the one hand, you think like, really? And then it kind of like goes, shouldn't be like this, but then you think, why? But then again, you have two nice buttons in here where you think like, oh, these buttons are really nice. And you have more space, and also a couple of here, they're also adaptive. Yeah, once again, everywhere you look, and once in here also, like this one here is with the, with this premium material, also soft touch here on top, a part of that. Yeah, it's really everywhere you look, you have this super great, but then think about this. Also, for example, with illuminated seat belt holders. Let's take a look at the trunk or the boot. In this case, it's really the boot, I would say, right, for a British vehicle. Then let's take a look here. The cabin trolley fits in also in a vertical way, easy. Then this rail here, left and right, also keeps it in place. Maybe because it's very cold outside, that it's not sliding down that fast, that quickly here. Maybe that's the reason. And then interesting is, as for dimension, this one here is the plug-in hybrid. So we have, of course, the battery stored in the lower part, and we can put this one here up. This then secure, for example, like this separator, or maybe put something here. It's a good solution, actually. And of course, the big difference is here. This is like this even loading sill, and the Range Rover would have this separate flap that opens here. The Range Rover Sport is opening in like this. The length here is a little bit shorter than the mirror of 40 inches. There is where the Range Rover has more length. And then the width here is actually quite cool. It's like 1 meter 10 or 43 inches. And the height here, 77 centimeters or 30 inches overall, well usable. What about folding the seat? Well, this is also actually easily done. Here and here you press these buttons, and then both seats fold, or seat halves fold. The electric motors sound a little bit weird, right? But that way is a very nice solution, good in the handling. And let's see, to the seat as I would be driving. This is in a total length of about 1 meters 80 or 70 inches. We see a lot of good stuff here in this vehicle, but here, build quality wise, who thought of that? I mean, this integration is somehow not right for a premium vehicle. However, the function here again for the seats also goes in reverse. That is then of course even more practical when you don't have to do it yourself, and can also fold the seats up again from the rear here. Powertrain's really interesting. We've seen this trend, Mercedes with the C63 going from 8-cylinder to 4-cylinder. Range Rover says, hold my British beer or my ale. Hey, let's go 6-cylinder and 8-cylinder only. Well, and then you have a 3-liter 6-cylinder diesel or a 3-liter 6-cylinder petrol engine, inline 6-cylinder, either pure petrol or base here for the plug-in hybrid drivetrain in 2 different horsepower versions. This one here, the P510e. And when it says P510, it means this is the horsepower figure. So easy to read the engine versions then of Jaguar Land Rover. I applaud them for that in this case. Still, it remains a rear-wheel bias with this all-wheel drive and the pure electric range around 100 kilometers or 60 miles. Well, this drivetrain with 32 kilowatt-hour net battery, so reasonably sized battery, You want to be even faster, because this one here, 5.4 seconds in the acceleration figure. Only faster is the 4.4 liter V8 supplied by BMW, then 4.5 seconds in the acceleration figure. And what else is there to come? All electric in 2024. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the new Range Rover Sport. Here in the plug-in hybrid version, that means it's the second quickest version behind the V8. Here 5.4 seconds is the official acceleration figure. I can also put here into the dynamic mode. Interestingly, it doesn't mean that it directly goes into petrol mode, but at the moment we are in the petrol mode. Later more about the hybrid drive system. Now we start from 50 kilometers an hour. Let's go. $150, $180, and 200 kilometers an hour, 125 miles an hour. Oh, now, wow, significant wind noises here picking up here, then that's interesting. So below it it's okay, but not above 200 kilometers an hour, but still, I mean, we are like a driving cupboard, basically. And the Range Rover Sport with a little bit sport here, approaching the big Range Rover brother. Soon also more to the comparison. Feels very settled here on the road. Steering at higher speeds is a little bit wake. It's also better at lower speeds. Now hitting the brakes, and of course here with the plug-in hybrid we can also use recuperation. If there's more braking power needed, then we also use the real brakes. But of course the plug-in hybrid does save some of the real brakes, so you don't have to switch then the disc that often. Very interesting, definitely. And here, very silent now at normal highway speeds, so that's noise insulation. Holy the hell? So, I'm not sure if you've seen the sign, but this is here 80 kilometers an hour speed limit before this tunnel, and that was like 160 or something in the Ford Fiesta. Whoa. Okay. Well, you see a lot of things on public roads, for sure. Here in the tunnel now, yeah, you can see very, very nicely these instruments and the infotainment system. Very crisp also in the dark to see that everything, but not too much ambient lighting though. But I can also see the illuminated buttons, so when I want to control something while driving, it's easy to do so. And told you that in the interior part, it has a straightforward user interface for the climate unit and so on, so you can easily indeed switch that through while driving, so I'm really, really happy with that. The key thing here always of the Range Rover or Range Rover Sport is this command driving position. King of the road experience, you sit high, you have the standard air suspension. When you have waves or something, it really, like evens out everything in a very smooth way. It feels so luxurious while driving. That's awesome. The only thing is here, we are equipped with the 23-inch wheels, the biggest wheels that are available for this vehicle. And these are making some smaller, bumps on the road kind of uncomfortable. So I would not go with the 23-inch wheels. They look great from the outside, yes, but rather stick at least 22. If not, I would really recommend start with the base 21-inch wheels. They just make the ride more comfortable, and then you really have the most comfortable ride. Here now, this area is a little bit higher. This is also interesting. I sometimes tend to activate the off-road gauges here, because then I also see the altitude changes. And we start at 64 meters above sea level, and here now 230 meters above sea level. And you can see that these couple of like 150 meters or something, they are often a difference between snow and not snow. Very interesting, definitely. And here now, this heated front screen, they do not use a modern foil, but these, these visible heating lines inside. And yeah, I personally, myself, well, especially when you're driving like here against a white wall at this moment with this fog, I majorly see that, and to me it is indeed a disturbing thing, so I would rather go without it. However, it's of course a helpful feature, but I don't understand why in such a luxury car they don't use these foils, Yes, they are supposed to be not that efficient as the individual heating lines, but still, I mean, like a Seat Ateca or a VW Tiguan has this foil inside and you don't see it, but still you have a great heated windshield. So, oh, there's a new Ford Ranger. You can also check out the Ford Ranger review, of course, here on Autogefühl. Now getting back again on the motorway, and it really depends on the driving mode. In the dynamic mode, some red background, it's not always that the car is hopping into, there again, for example, it's going back to the electric. So it really depends, but it prefers the petrol engine a little bit more. But when I, for example, press the auto mode on the drive mode selector, auto terrain response selected, then the car is more, really seeing like what's happening at the moment, and then selecting the driving mode depending on the condition. And then most of the time when the battery is charged, this car is firstly using the electric drive, and it's awesome. It drives very, very silently. You still have some acceleration possibility, and then when you push the throttle a little bit more, then the petrol engine hops on. You can also see that in here in these gauges whenever the petrol engine is on, but this 3-liter inline 6-cylinder. Yeah, oh god, three cylinder. That was like, oh my god. Yeah, so this 3-liter inline 6-cylinder is actually also notably silent in this vehicle. So the transitions between electric drive and the petrol engine is also kind of smooth. Let me go back to the dynamic mode again, and what we can also do is put the shifting mode to S. And this will even boost up acceleration. I won't be driving too fast now. I'm not sure how wet this part is. It's not too wet, the road, although, let's see. Yeah, it looks quite good. But when I'm now here into this S shifting mode, you'll realize that the gears will be turned up higher. Let's take a look. There we go. It's 150. Yeah, that's enough for now in this corner here. All-wheel drive, of course, always with the rear bias. That's cool. But here, once again, when we are at high speeds, I think the steering is too vague. It doesn't give me the best contact feeling over the vehicle, I think. I already experienced that in the Range Rover Brother. Here in the Range Rover Sport, I feel that at lower speeds, the steering is, to me, a little bit more likable. But here's just the problem that at higher speeds, I lose a little bit of feeling for the steering. But again, the focus of this vehicle is also not driving that fast and super, super dynamic. Although the name says Range Rover Sport, it's more this cruising feeling, king of the road experience, and enjoying that great air suspension. And I really, really love that. So when you focus that, then it's actually okay. And when you now think Range Rover versus Range Rover Sport here in this new generation, I don't feel there is a big difference. And the thing is also, considering they have same wheelbase in the short wheelbase version, which I have also driven, the difference is really not that large. Yes, it has some sportier touch here, that it's a little bit shorter in the rear with the overhang. That brings some more sportiness, definitely. Oh no, there's salt on the windscreen. It's not that good. So, and steering to me a little bit better in the feeling. So when I could choose between Range Rover and Range Rover Sport, I would indeed choose the Range Rover Sport driving wise. Feels a little bit sportier indeed, a little bit more fun to drive. At the same time, you don't lose anything. The only reason to go for the Range Rover would actually be if you want that long wheelbase version for more chauffeur purposes in the rear and so on. But if you think about the short wheelbase version, you might as well save 20k or something and then pick the Range Rover Sport. That's that's my take. And this hybrid drivetrain here is really nice. You can go back to the driving mode, also the normal D mode once again, and also pushed in the terrain response mode. Then everything is done automatically. So I feel the transitions handle very, very nicely. So for example, in the Mazda CX-60 plug-in hybrid, there we had like stronger transitions between the drives, but here I think done in a really fluent way. And this battery size also gives you enough pure electric driving. As I said, it could up to be 100 kilometers or 60 miles, but that's a maximum figure actually. You obviously think about in real world figures, but this is already a preview also of the all-electric Range Rover or Range Rover Sport coming in 2024. when they manage to do that. So at least that's planned that way. And that is actually an awesome experience indeed. At the same time, at this moment when you cannot recharge frequently, you also have that you get rid of this range anxiety. Heated steering wheel is available on the steering wheel here with the button. Nice clicking sounds here also with the buttons on the steering wheel. And then we also have all of the assistance systems. For example, I can set cruise control on the steering wheel. It depends on also, of course, which trim you have, which one you have and which one you don't. Cruise control, for example, is set here on the steering wheel, plus and minus and so on. And then also the distance to the car in front of me is being kept. Adaptive cruise control. I can also adjust the distance here with the steering wheel buttons. So far so good. And also there's a separate button then for the active lane keeping assist. So it's also easy to activate or deactivate it. And it really depends on when the car is realizing when it's able to do that. Here at the moment there's a road without a middle wide line, and so the car says, nah, rather not do that. So let's see if that changes as soon as a middle wide line appears. What is very interesting is also the rear axle steering, and it gives you a new agility feeling for that. So especially at lower speeds it's going in the opposite direction than the front wheels, up to 7.3 degrees, and that's kind of astonishing. It's really high figure. We only know from Mercedes that in their non-AMG models they sometimes even now offer up to 10 degrees in some models, for example in the new C-Class or also in the EQS then as an option. But here quite wide, and that gives you a lot of agility. It's easier to maneuver in and out in the basement garage, for example. So that helps you parking in and out this huge SUV, and also gives you a lot of driving fun at lower speeds indeed. Yes, rear active steering always feels a little bit unnatural, but definitely it's a very good feature here for this vehicle. It's standard for the plug-in hybrid. Depending on the engine version, it's an option. You really have to go deep into the prices and the configurator in your market, configure it together with your engine pick actually. But now the question is, it says Range Rover Sport, or as Gary McGovern, Land Rover designer, would say, Range Rover Sport. Then we have to see how much sport is there in this vehicle. All right, one more time, dynamic mode and also S Sports shifting mode. We have, of course, power for both drivetrains. Let's see, how sporty is it? Yeah, I think steering once again could be a little bit more connected to the vehicle. Oh, what that rear axle steering. It's kind of like the rear is like floating around, not in a bad way, in a good way. That's really cool. Let's see how far I have to turn the steering wheel here, almost one way around. Rear axle bias as well. Yeah, it's a little bit. See, like at first it doesn't come that fast, and then you get an enormous push by that electric drive as well. So not the most harmonious acceleration feeling. So indeed, yeah, I think this combination that the power sets in a quite spontaneous way then, but just after a short while, together with the wake steering, I have to say, no, it is definitely not focused on driving fun, even though here this badge says Range Rover Sport. So yeah, that's the catch. I really love driving this vehicle, but not for its sportiness, but rather automatic driving mode, the Range Rover or Range Rover Sport, even though this one has, this little sportier touch. These vehicles are for the king of the road driving experience and for enjoying, this floaty ride. This is the main focus, and this they are still doing in a very, very nice way. And also the seats here for long-term comfort are really great. This Ultra Fabrics, all vegan interior. As I said earlier, even the steering wheel, it feels better even than the old school solutions. And they also test them for long-term durability in the test facilities actually. So great job as for this. They really have brought this vehicle here into the modern era with the plug-in hybrid drivetrain, which has useful electric drive only, also as for the range, and together with the more modern interior. So yeah, the Range Rover has been criticized for being not sustainable and so on for decades, of course, because it's this huge SUV and so on. But this is then indeed, at this moment, the best sustainable option also for a Range Rover. And yeah, I think this is really getting this brand into a modern era, considering also the problems they had in the recent years. And they are still struggling financially, definitely. There are still these outsiders in a way. Yes, they're not the classic Audi, BMW, Mercedes and so on, but that's exactly the reason why people buy this vehicle, to be more special, to be more unique, and enjoy this, still beloved British luxury aspect. So, and the question is, can it keep up to the Germans in a way? Not dynamic-wise, as I just said, but on the luxury level, and also now this new approaches, yeah, it is definitely a very competitive product. It's just a question like, what do you exactly want? And when you want that great luxury experience that's just a little bit more personal and unique, then it's definitely worth thinking about it. If you want to compare the Germans, we have the BMW X5 plug-in hybrid episode and also the Mercedes GLE plug-in hybrid episode.